Welcome to Books We've Never Read,
Except those we have.
a weekly book club.
I'm Nicole,
And I'm Jason.
and this is our introductory episode to the book club. So, can you tell us a little bit about why we're doing this?
A while back, I was reading a book kind of by myself, and I was trying to explain the entire thing to Nicole without her having ever read it, so she started reading it. And now we're both reading the same book, and we really enjoy having a book together that we can talk about and discuss. And we realized that that happens to us a lot, where there is no one also reading the same book that we're reading. And so we've kind of started this book club between the two of us. But then one night we were talking about how that happens to a lot of people. And we would like to be able to be that book club for you. If you're reading a book and we had like a system that we could follow, um, you'd be able to follow along and hear the discussions that we're having, and then maybe someday we could have some live discussions so that other people could participate. Uh, but sort of make a book club for people on the internet where they don't have to rely on having other people in their area reading the same thing.
Yeah. So, our format we'll try to keep very consistent. You want to tell us a little bit about what our plan is for each book, how we'll take each book?
Okay, so we're going to divide every book into sections, and we will have a syllabus episode before we start any book. And in that syllabus episode, we will break down what those sections are going to be. You know, chapters 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, whatever it's going to be. That way, you know ahead of time what it is that you need to read. And then every Sunday, we anticipate, we will put out an episode where we talk about whatever the next section is going to be. Um, and if you are finding this video months or years after we've put out that series, you can read at your own pace and then just watch the video to catch up on the discussion for whatever it is that you've read. But otherwise, if you're reading it live with us, each section will be read in a week.
Right. And we are breaking books down so that way we finish a book in 4 weeks, about or less, just because you lose steam after a while. So we won't always be making breaks at the natural break points that are in books, like part 1, part 2, part 3. Sometimes it's just not going to work like that. But yeah, we'll break it down in even proportions so that it's doable within a week because we have other things to do. So, what else do we need to talk about with this?
Could you tell us a little bit about your background and why we are interested?
So, we're hoping that I can bring some education to the table. I was a teacher for several years, an English teacher, and so one would think that I might have some insightful literary analysis. We'll see.
Yeah. It's always interesting talking to Nicole about books because she can say like, oh, this other book, they say a similar thing, or, you know, she's always like tying it back into other things. And so hopefully we will find some more books that we can read through that process. I'm just the guy that reads books. I got a liberal arts degree, so I've read a lot of different things and been able to tie a lot of things together, but I have no formal teaching experience as far as literature goes, at least. But I think between the two of us bringing some different perspectives will be kind of interesting.
Absolutely. What kinds of books are you? How do we pick our books?
We are just the title of the show, right? We are picking books we've never read, except for those we have. Our first book that we are going to read is a book that I started on my own, and now we are both reading together. But there are lots of books that I've read or that Nicole has read that the other has not read. We are going to probably pick some of those eventually just because we want to share that book with each other and then with you. But we are going to try to stay away from like the classics, right? We don't want to read, I don't think, like Moby Dick or A Tale of Two Cities, or, you know, like whatever these major books are that everybody has read at some point or that are like really common. We're going to try to stay away from. Excuse me. I really enjoy science fiction. I really enjoy fantasy. I enjoy, I guess, like historic fiction, different things like that. But we're going to try to jump around with different genres because we know that you may not necessarily enjoy all the same stuff that we enjoy. But this show is for us to enjoy these books, right? We're not trying to cater to everybody. And so if we're reading a book for a month that you don't like, that's okay. You can come back the next month and see what it is that we're reading. If you have a book that you would like us to read, that you want to be able to participate in, we want to hear what that book is. But we're only going to read things that we want to read.
Yeah. I can't handle reading something that I don't like.
You did that for years.
Just can't do it. And he mentioned some of the genres that he likes, and I like all of those as well, including like a good psychological thriller. I think that throwing in some of that stuff, you know, it might not take us 4 weeks to get through it. We might get through it in one. But that would be fun as well. And I also like modern takes on old texts, newer versions of the Odyssey, stuff like that.
I also think that we anticipate doing some one-off episodes where maybe we find something small and we decide that we want to just put out an episode where we've read that thing and it's going to be outside of the normal schedule. And we may not even tell anybody that we're going to do it, but we will...
It's a little bonus episode.
Here you go. Here's our discussion about it. Go read it before you watch this video if you want to. And we'll mark those in some kind of way. Most of the books that we are reading on Kindle.
And I listen to audiobook versions generally.
I try. But we will try to put out the translation versions, especially if there's multiple versions, and where you can find the books, things like that, to make sure we're all on the same page.
But do keep in mind, when there is something with different translations, you can get a lot of different interpretations of the literature from different versions. And so it can be very insightful in different ways. And it's also similar when someone's reading the text version versus an audiobook version. That the narrator, the speaker in an audiobook, kind of forces some meaning through their inflections and how they read things and stuff like that. So we encourage you to tell us, what version of what you're reading or listening to, and how that changes your interpretation of the text.
So I guess at this point, find a video series in our library that you enjoy, a book that you want to read, pick that book up, watch the syllabus episode, and go ahead and plan to read and follow along with our discussions.
And we're happy to have you along for the ride. Bye.
See you next time.
Well,
I won.
Oh!
I had scissors, you had paper.
Go.
Welcome to Books We've Never Read.
Except those we have.